What's up, everybody? So I'm here at my local disc golf course, which we have a couple, but I'm at Dry Creek right now. Sorry about the beeping. It is my car. I'm about to get out of it. But anyways, this is my bag of discs. I'm going to go play some disc golf, and then I would love to sit and talk with you about what I'm throwing. I'm about to enter my first tournament here in June, so I just want to give you guys an update of what I'm going to be throwing in that tournament. Today we'll kind of round out some different discs that I'm looking at, and we'll take some out, might put some in. But, yeah, join me for the ride. It's super windy today. Sorry I'm coming to you a day later than I said I would with what's in my bag and what I'm going to use for the tournament. I played my round that I had to be to bingo. This is heartbreaking, y'all. Our car is totaled. We'll find out, like, official stuff Monday. But anyways, I wanted to show you guys, like, the discs that I've been working through. This is the Cupboard of Beauty, or the Cupboard of Many Colors. So we have our 14s back here, which I don't throw because I just don't have the arm speed, and I learned that early on. And then we go through the rest from like everything goes lower. We have mid-ranges, approach discs, and then putters. So the last three are links. These are all judges. So this green one's a judge. Then you have the blue one. Sorry, I'll change that. So this is a deputy. Then you have a sensei, and then two ABRs. So I've worked through all these discs: buzzes, shark, different fairway drivers, and some of those are now backup drivers, up to what's in my bag. But that being said, let's get into what's actually in my bag and what I'm going to be carrying for my first tournament. Let's go. Alright, so we're going to do this in my garage. And so, sorry if it's a little windy, I am outside. If I feel like it's getting too bad, we'll shut the door. So anyways, that being said, the bag that I use is the Disc Mania Fanatic 2. So part of the reason that I got this bag is, one, I like to shop local, and we have two shops in town. We have Throw YO and then Rock on Wheels. Both of them have great disc selections. Zach, who runs Throw YO, throws mainly, or has mainly Discmania, Discraft, and he just added Dynamic recently, and so I picked up a bag from him. And I want a little bigger bag. I've gone through a couple since playing for almost a year, and this was just a bigger bag, a little nicer, with some side pocket stuff that I really wanted, as well as a putter pocket. So now let's get into what's in the bag. First things first, let's deal with what's on the sides and like outside, because I don't see a lot of that in bags, but sometimes I'm curious what people are carrying with them. So I have a Prodigy towel, microfiber towel to clean my discs on the outside, just with two carabiners just hanging there. And then I have our local club's tags. This is my tag from last year. I just bought to be part of the club, like at the end of the season. And this is my tag this year. I'm in the Advanced League, and I'm disc 12, or tag 12, sorry. So one of the last ones. So that's what's on the outside. On the, if I'm looking at the bag, right side pocket, I have my chalk bag, which is Discmania. Part of the reason I got the Fanatic bag too is because I did turn into a little bit of a Discmania fanatic / fanboy. So I have my Discmania chalk bag. I have a Discmania marker, and I actually have two. So this is the marker that I've been using for the better part of a year, but then just recently I got gifted this Wyoming Classic, the 3rd annual Wyoming Classic. So this has been my marker lately, and that's kind of what I use. And then I just keep a backup. I'm kind of a guy that likes backups and stuff like that, just because if I lose something, like I have another one, I don't have to worry about it if I leave it somewhere. On the other right side pocket, or it would be the left side if you're looking at the bag, I keep a little mini in case I take an energy drink or soda or something out to the course. I can cap it. And this is just that little hand-eye stamp. I think that one's sick. I keep some bug spray, some chapstick, and I think that's it except for some sunscreen. So that's what I keep in that side, just to have, again, extra stuff. Disc golf's the sport that fights back, in my opinion. In the back pocket, like there's a very, very back pocket, I keep one more towel, which is the Discmania Tech towel. I was playing a glow round, and we didn't know what the snow or water would look like, so I didn't know if I was going to need two towels, and this one was pretty cheap, so I just picked it up and grabbed it. And again, I did go through a little bit of a Discmania super fanboy thing, so I went with the Tech towel. Now, let's actually get into what everybody cares about. Who's watching this? Nobody cares about the extra stuff. Let's find out what I'm going to throw in my first tournament ever. And I'm nervous, but super excited. Let's get into it. Let's start out with the discs that these videos always start out with. Putters. Now these are my putting putters. I keep them in my putter pocket. I keep 3 of the same mold, just a little different plastic. So the first one in my main go-to putter is the Dynamic Disc Judge. And again, I throw the same mold for my putting putters. This one's 176 grams, and I won't go over the weight all the time. I like to putt normally with a more firm, and this is their hard plastic. I like to putt with a more firm plastic. It just makes me feel like I have a little more control, and I don't really like to feel my putter give. So it's a sick judge with a little hand-eye stamp in the corner. I just think it looks really cool. And the judge gives me just a little extra glide. I was throwing with the links, and I feel like the judge fought the wind a little better. And so I switched back to the judge. This was my first love for putting. The second one that I throw, and the second most used, is if I'm outside of the circle, or I'm going to run a putt and there's like a death putt kind of behind it. Even if I'm within 25 feet, I throw a judge that's in the classic soft, and it's a pink burst. This is just so that when it hits the ground, it's not going to skip as hard as the hard plastic, and hopefully digs into the ground and doesn't roll away into a creek or whatever. So that's the soft judge. And then I have another hand-eye stamped judge. This one is in a blue prime burst. The white one is in a classic, I believe. But anyways, this is just a backup putter, or occasionally I'll throw this one maybe, but it's really in there just for a backup in case I feel like for some reason, I know it's the same mold, but for some reason I feel that one's throwing on me off, which sounds so weird, but I can do that and then pick this one up, throw, and it'll be a little cleaner. And then just a backup, just in case that one goes in the creek or a pond or something, I can't get it. So those are the three putting putters. Now let's move on to approach discs or throwing putters. When it comes to throwing putters or approach discs, I bag three of them. And I was thinking about sticking with the same mold for all three, but I kind of decided that I didn't really want to spend the money, if that sounds weird. And because I didn't need to is the key word. So the first one and the most used one is the Disc Mania Tactic in the soft plastic, in the XO Soft. This disc was my first Disc Mania disc, and this is the disc that made me fall in love with their products. I picked this up. It fights the wind amazingly. It's pretty overstable, so it's always going to finish consistently, and I just love it for my forehand approach shots. Occasionally I'll throw it on a backhand, but very rarely. This one I'm usually throwing if I'm like 150, 75, 80, 90 feet away. I'm not quite to the point where I'm running those, so I throw my forehand approach shot, and this is the disc I'm going to go to. I love the Tactic, but a similar disc in the next plastic up is the Westside Discs Heart. This one is in a BT hard plastic, and you'll see a theme. I love pink discs. They make it easy for me to find, and I just really like the color. This one is a similar thing, except I'm going to throw it on forehands if I'm trying to play more of a skip. My soft tends to kind of dig in. This one tends to skip. And threw this one back in the bag. I just love the way it flies. I'll also use this if I'm in a strong headwind and need a putt. I'll use this disc to fight the wind and putt with it. It has a little rounder, more putter-esque edge to it, and so it's easy to transition from going from a putter to putting with this. It doesn't feel weird like it does for me with the Tactic, and that's kind of why I stuck with the Heart. So I play this, maybe a backhand throw or a forehand if I'm playing the skip, or if I need a putt in a headwind, because I know this thing's going to fight the wind really well. The next one I have is the Disc Mania Razor Claw, which is a Vapor Tactic. It's Eagle McMahon's signature disc. He's one of my favorite disc golfers, and when I saw this thing, I had to have it. It is so sick. So the Vapor Plastic flies just a little more overstable than the XO Plastic. So I use this thing if I need to fight the wind, and I'm looking to either throw a putter and get it to curve just exactly like I need it to, which sounds weird. I don't throw this one on forehands a ton, actually, which is weird. I just like a grippier plastic for my forehands, but I throw this disc if I need to fight the wind from the tee box and I'm throwing a putter, and I'm trying to get it out there, and I want it to fade pretty hard to the left, and I know what this disc is going to do every single time, and it fights the wind so well. So that's it for throwing putter / approach discs. Now let's move on to the mid-range game. Now, I don't know about the rest of you, but when I started out, I ran a really putter-heavy bag as I tried to kind of figure out what putters I had. And then from there, I moved to mid-ranges. I went from the Buzz, I used the Shark, I used one from Streamline that I can't remember the name of, and then I landed on the Method. So when I found the Method, I really was kind of looking for just something. I was just trying the mid-range game, and when I threw this, I actually started with the white one that's in that cupboard. But then when I moved to like more pink discs, because they're really easy to find, I grabbed this pink one. So this is one of my methods. I carry two. I carry one in the Neo, which we'll see in a second. I carry one in the XL Hard. This method, because of the type of plastic it is, that XL Hard, I'm going to use this if I need a forehand mid-range, or if I need more of a understable mid-range. This one has broken in to be pretty understable, but not to the point where like it turns like all the way right, but it'll give me a little flex and then finish left consistently, and then it just throws on a forehand beautifully. Like I said, I like grippier plastics for my forehands. I just feel like I can get a better snap off of it, and I have more control of that plastic. I don't know why. So that's the first method. The second one, so after I'd thrown the XL Hard, I wanted to upgrade the plastic a little bit because I noticed the disc is supposed to be more overstable. It's a 5503, so it's supposed to be more overstable and fade harder to the left, or fade more to the left. And the XL Hard just kind of wasn't doing that, and which is fine because when you're a beginner, you don't want anything that dips too hard. So I got a method in a neoplastic, and then this is my own custom dye job from a dyeing clinic. Just we call it the chocolate chip disc because that's kind of what it looked like at first, and then it just this crazy burst of color and craziness, which is super similar to my personality, but of course it was pink. So I throw this one if I need to get around a corner. Actually, the course that we're going to play out for my first tournament, one of the holes I need to go straight but kind of curve around a corner. I throw this disc every single time, and it's going to go straight for a little bit and then ride that hyzer angle out to finish. It's super consistent, and I love this disc. I really just love the method as a mold in general, and that's why I bagged two of them in different plastics, because both those plastics do different things. But this one, if I need a mid-range shot where I have to get around an obstacle, I'm gonna reach for this 10 times out of 10. The next one is a Discmania Origin. So I was looking for a Buzz SS when I found this disc. Zach told me he doesn't have any, and they were really hard to find. He said, "But hey, try the Origin. It's going to be similar to the Buzz SS. It's just a stable, straight flying mid range." So I tried it, and it does fly ridiculously straight. To where if I'm going to throw a mid range on a tee box, I know that this one is going to flex out on me and then come back. It's a pretty overstable disc, but normally on just like my normal mid-range throw where I'm not trying to put too much power on it, just get it to the basket, it's going to fly straight and finish straight. I love this Origin. And it has that sick circle stamp on it that's just beautiful. So those are my three mid-ranges. Let's move to the fairway / short-range distance driver game. In this section, we're going to deal with like obvious fairway drivers and then anything below 10. So I bagged quite a few. Driving is kind of where I've been focusing lately on what my drivers are. So the first is a D-Line FD from Discmania with a sick throw IO stamp. So shop them, check them out. He's not sponsoring this video or anything, but I just really appreciate them. Also check out Rock on Wheels. They're both Cheyenne local companies, so if you don't have a place of your own, I know you could go to Google, but support a local shop and pick them up. There's a ton of places you can go. They have a lot of choices. And maybe you'll find stamps like this that you can't just find on any website. So I got this one because it's a wing stamp, which is sick, and then it has a throw IO on it. And I was just looking for a driver at the time. When I picked this up, it would fly straight, maybe a little turn, and then fade left. If you know the FD series, the FD, the D-Line, the C-Line, the S-Line, I had bagged all three of those after I got this one because I just love this driver so much when I really started using it. But now this one has broken into where this is I need to fade something right, but I'm not confident in the distance in my forehand to get to that distance. So I let this thing off flat. It's gonna turn to the right, and then just at the end of its flight, it's gonna fade left to give me a nice soft landing. I love this disc, and I use this disc on again anything that I need to go distance and to the right of. Next is the Instinct. So the Discmania Instinct I picked up because I was just playing around with a bunch of different fairway drivers, like I said, and I've used quite a few. I tried the Raptor. I'm not totally in love with that one yet, but that might make its way back in my bag. But the reason it didn't is because of the Instinct. The Instinct does similar things to the Raptor, where it finishes to the left, and it's literally meant to go a little straight into the left. It's great if I need a line where I need a hyzer line, and this thing will just ride that and come over and finish to the left every time. It's super consistent. I use this if I need to go a little straight, but I need to guarantee myself a finish to the left to get exactly where I need to go. I reach for the Instinct every single time. So again, any fairway driver shot where I want it to fade to the left and I want it to fade to the left decently hard, I reach for the instinct. The reason I keep bagging this one, I'm going to bag this one for the tournament over the Raptor, is because I don't have enough time with the Raptor for one, and I don't really want to put too much time into figuring out what those discs do because I know what I use, what's in my bag. But also, I feel like this glides more, and the Raptor just finishes too fast to the left, if that makes sense. The next one is the Essence. So I picked this up when I was looking to replace my Discmania Undertaker, and I quickly realized there's not quite a disc like the Undertaker, but the Essence filled a hole in my game that I didn't know I needed. An understable fairway driver. This thing I can hyzer flip, and I'm starting to learn those angles, so I can put it on a little hyzer angle. It's going to pop up to flat, turn out, and come back to the left. But it's not going to like dip left. It's just going to fade a little bit to the left just at the end of its flight. This is probably one of the discs that I've thrown the furthest because I understand it the most. I can also throw it straight and know that it's going to turn and then come back left. It's one of my favorite discs to throw, and I just feel like it's super, super controllable, and it's super consistent. It does the same thing every time, and if I want to throw it, but you can, if you throw it on an anhyzer angle, you can turn it over and hit it as a roller too, which I don't do very often. I'm not a big roller guy. I live in Cheyenne, Wyoming, so like playing rollers here is like impossible because the ground is so bumpy. So the Essence is the next one, and that stamp is just sick with the sword and shield. And that's why I shop throw a while, because he does cool stuff like that a lot. Now we're going to move into my last fairway driver, which I consider a short distance driver, which doesn't make any sense. I know pros use these as fairway drivers, but to me, I still get really, really good distance with this one. This is the Discraft Undertaker. And I had it in green for a long time that I use, and I saw it in pink, and I just had to have it. It's just a beautiful disc. It's gorgeous. And that pink and black, like, you just can't go wrong with it. This disc is probably my most straight flying disc with a slight finish to the left, but it kind of finishes straight for me in my arm speed. So I normally throw this on straight angles when I'm trying just to get through a gap and I want it to finish a little to the left. I absolutely love this disc. Occasionally I'll throw it on an anhyzer angle and get it just to turn a little bit and come back, but normally I'm going to throw this thing straight. It'll ride and hold whatever angle you throw on it, and I just absolutely love the Undertaker. So, now we're going to move into our distance drivers. And I'm just going to do just the ones I use for distance. I'm not going to go distance and then max distance because I'm taking up so much of your time already. But let's get into what I'm throwing distance driver-wise. So, first things first, I kind of realized with my fairway driver that I didn't have that in a distance driver. And although I could throw that, I wanted to see if it made a distance, or it made a difference. So I went out and started looking for something 10 speed or higher. And I came across a couple. Obviously, you have the Hades I looked at pretty heavily because it's similar to a Zeus, and I do bag a Zeus, which we'll talk about here in a second. But I just kind of wanted to try something different than the brands that I've been trying. So I went with a Legacy Nemesis, and this is in the Pinnacle plastic, I believe it is. The numbers are 10, 6, -3, and 2. And I can get this thing to hyzer flip. I love it. Or I can throw it straight and get it to turn and come out. It has turned into an amazing, amazing disc. I still have a little bit of time to learn how exactly what I'm going to throw this disc for, but I found a line on a hole I was really struggling with the rest of the discs in my bag, and this hit the line perfectly and did exactly what I wanted to do, and it set me up for an amazing upshot. So I throw this disc anytime I need to go a little straight and not maybe, but definitely turn, get a little more distance, and then fade out just ever so slightly. Now, when it does start to fade, it can tend to fade out a little hard, which is a little bit of a problem, but as I learn it, I'm going to learn that fade, and we'll learn how to play that fade. So that's the first one, is the Legacy Discs Nemesis. The next is, again, with that 6 circle stamp from Throw-A-Wyo, and I just got this disc back. Funny story, I was doing some practice shots and trying to figure out a tee pad at a park we play Mylar, which is where I'm going to play my round today, and came across like just a problem where I wasn't getting it to finish like any of my discs to do what I wanted them to do, and I was looking for the disc that would fit that shot, and I thought maybe my PD. So it's an S-Line PD. This one I can get, when I throw it, I get it to go super straight and then finish to the left. Someone's out riding bikes. It's a beautiful day, just a little windy. So with this PD, and I actually bag 2, I can get it to go really straight and it finishes out to the left consistently every time. I use this, like, there's a couple lines that I play in town where I needed to go straight for a little while and then for a little to medium while and then dip out left to get to the basket. And that's what I use this. I put it in water, and Zach Meeker from Throw While actually found it as guys were kind of getting them to try to sell them and talked him out of it. So returned back in my bag. I almost have to relearn it because it's been a little while since I've lost it, but I'm excited to have it back in the bag. I love the way that this disc flies. And I will be playing with it today to figure it out. The next one is a super, super light PD. It has a Throw While stamp, so again, go shop there. Shop Rock on Wheels. Both those are great stores in Cheyenne. And this one's a little more flexible, and I think that's because of the weight. This is 159 grams, and I use this for tailwind shots and when I just want to bomb and let the wind take it. I'll throw this straight with maybe a little bit of Anheuser angle. It'll pop to flat if I throw a Anheuser, just ride the wind and then come back down to the left. I love my PDs, and I really like how they throw. So they're probably the ones that I'm reaching for the most, unless I'm really trying to make something cool happen. Or I need a different line, obviously. The next is an Enigma, and this is where we get into 12s. My 12 thicker rim, higher speed drivers. So the Enigma actually does not fly to its numbers. It's a 12.5, -1.2, and it does glide really, really well. But this disc is more understable than you would think. If I put this on an Anheuser line and I crank it, it's going to turn over and actually end up rolling. So what I like to do with this one is just throw it flat. It'll turn out and then fade back to the left. After learning the understability of this disc, it made me really, really think about how I was throwing it, and now I absolutely love to throw this disc. If I need good distance, I want to go out and turn and dump back, I love the Enigma, so check one of these out. The next one that I throw is the disc that I throw, like today. This will be my go-to driver because of the wind. The Zeus just fights the wind so much, and I have this one, and if you didn't know, all those are neoplastic. Sorry, one of our doors opened. That got weird. It's like I said, it's windy. So a lot of them are neoplastic. The Undertakers and Big Z. Sorry I didn't tell you that, but this one's an ESP, and just what they do with, and I don't know if I'll get it to focus, but the swirls in this thing are just beautiful. The ESP plastic is really cool. I like a lot of what Discraft does, but this disc I use to fight the wind. I throw it flat, and it's just it'll actually turn a little bit for me. Not a lot. It'll just smidgenly turn. Ride the straight angle, and then it dumps out hard. But it's super consistent. I know exactly what it's going to do all the time, even in a headwind. If I throw it in a headwind, I can trust that the disc is going to fight the wind and finish to the left. Even if the wind, like the other day I was on a hole and I threw it directly into a headwind and I gave it a lot, like I had to give it the gusto because of the headwind, and the wind took it, and I was like, oh, okay, well, it's still going to come to the right, or to the left. And so it was going to the right, and we thought we lost it, and it just dipped back to the left. And I know I can trust this to always come back to the left no matter what, in any type of wind. This is my go-to disc. So like today, playing in the wind, this is going to be the go-to. Now we're down to my last two. And these are more max speed. I have a Majesty, and unfortunately, it's not the run that came in the mystery box. This is the main run that they do, and it is super poppy. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's nuts. This disc is extremely overstable. If you throw it flat or with any bit of Anheuser, it's just going to want to go for a little bit and dip into the ground. But I learned that if you throw this one on a power grip, so I normally throw 2 fingers for my drivers until I get up to about 12, and then depending on the circumstance, I'll power grip them. But if you power grip this thing and give it a little bit of, and give it Anheuser angle, it's going to take that Anheuser angle, pop to flat, fly straight, and then finish. Since figuring that out with this disc, I can bomb this Majesty, and I absolutely enjoy throwing it, but there's not very many circumstances here where I need that shot, but I keep it in the bag just in case. So if you're not looking for a super overstable disc, I do not recommend this run of Majesty, because it's super pop-toppy, almost to the point where you have like a thumb groove to throw in. But the numbers are 13.5, -2.2, and I was really hoping that it was going to be a really stable flyer, or I'd even get some turn out of it and some fade. But it just wants to come out of the air to the left, in a fade angle, right? But I like to throw it again, power grip, put it on an Anheuser angle. It'll pop back up to flat, and it'll finish left every single time, but you can bomb it if you do it that way. The last one is a disc that was actually a gift from a friend after I got that Majesty, and was getting kind of frustrated and around, and was just telling him, like, I can't figure out how to throw it. He was like, well, try this one. It is the Disc Mania DD2. It's their It's one of their max distance drivers, and it has the same numbers as that one. This one's in an active premium plastic. This one's in a C-line plastic. Sorry, I'm getting dust in my eyes. This one, again, power grip, throw it straight, and it'll fly straight and finish to the left every single time. I also use it if I need a hyzer angle because it'll hold that hyzer angle all the way down. So if I need to get over a clump of trees, I'm going to put this thing on a hyzer angle, go high, and spike it down. I love this disc. The only reason I don't do that with the Majesty is because I don't really know how the Majesty will handle that because it wants to come out so fast. This will ride that angle up and give you a little bit of glide as it comes down. This one, I'm afraid you do that and just go, hey, and we're done. So that's what I'm bagging. That's what I'm carrying for my first tournament. Now, some of the discs may not even get thrown in the tournament. It depends on the wind. It depends on the shot. It depends on the basket locations, all that kind of stuff. But I'm super excited to enter. I'll let you know how it goes. Thanks for joining me along this ride. And always remember, I love you, Christ died for you, and God loves you. Just go out, and if you haven't accepted Christ, I encourage you to do that. But just remember, He loves you, and He's not judging you. Peace out.